Hare Krishna dear devotees, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. Today we are reading from the book Beyond Birth and Death, written by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Śrila Prabhupāda. We are continuing from where we have left yesterday, from page number 8. The body is composed of senses, and the senses are always hungry after their objects. The eyes see a beautiful person and tells us, "Oh, there is a beautiful girl, a beautiful boy. Let's go see." The ears are telling us, "Oh, there's very nice music. Let us go hear it." The tongue is saying, "Oh, there is a very nice restaurant with palatable dishes. Let us go." In this way, the senses are dragging us from one place to another, and because of this, we are perplexed. इन्द्रियाणां हि चरतां यन्मनोनुविधीयते तदस्य हरति प्रज्ञां वायुर्नावम् इवाम्भसि. As a boat on the water is swept away by a strong wind, even one of the senses on which the mind focuses can carry away a man's intelligence. Bhagavad Gita 2.67. It is imperative to learn how to control the senses. The name Goswami is given to someone who has learned how to master the senses. Go means senses and Swami means controller. So one who can control the senses is to be considered a Goswami. Krishna indicates that one who identifies with the illusory material body cannot establish himself in the proper identity of spirit soul. Bodily pleasure is flickering and intoxicating, and we cannot actually enjoy it because of its momentary nature. Actual pleasure is of the soul, not the body. We have to mold our lives in such a way that we will not be diverted by the bodily pleasures. If somehow we are diverted, it is not possible for us to establish our consciousness in its true identity beyond the body. भोगेश्वर्य प्रसक्तानां तया परहितचेतसां व्यवसायात्मिका बुद्धिः समादौ न विधीयते त्रैगुण्यविषया वेदा निस्त्रैगुण्यो भवार्जुन निर्द्वन्द्वो नित्यसत्त्वस्थो निर्योगक्षेम आत्मवान्. In the minds of those who are too attached to sense enjoyment and material opulence, and who are bewildered by such things, the resolute determination for devotional service to the Supreme Lord doesn't take place. The Vedas deal with the subject matter of three modes of material nature. Rise above these modes, O Arjun. Be transcendental to all of them. Be free from all dualities and from all anxieties for gain and safety, and be established in the self. Bhagavad Gita 2.44 and 45. The word Ved means the book of knowledge. There are many books of knowledge which vary according to the country, population, environment, etc. In India, the books of knowledge are referred to as the Vedas. In the West, they are called the Old Testament and the New Testament. The Muhammadans accept the Quran. What is the purpose of all these books of knowledge? They are to train us to understand our real position as pure souls. Their purpose is to restrict the bodily activities by certain rules and regulations, and these rules and regulations are known as codes of morality. The Bible, for instance, has 10 commandments intended to regulate our lives. The body must be controlled in order for us to reach the highest perfection, and without regulative principles, it is not possible for us to perfect our lives. The regulative principles may differ from country to country or from scripture to scripture, but that doesn't matter, for they are made according to the time, circumstances, and the mentality of people. But the principle of regulated control is the same. Similarly, the government sets down certain regulations to be obeyed by its citizens. There is no possibility of making advancements in government or civilization without some regulations. In the previous verse, Sri Krishna tells Arjun that the regulative principles of the Veds are meant to control the three modes of material nature, which are goodness, passion, and ignorance. Traigunya Vishaya Vedaha. However, Krishna is advising Arjun to establish himself in pure constitutional position as spirit soul, beyond the dualities of material nature. As we have already pointed out, these dualities, such as heat and cold, pleasure and pain, arise due to the contact of senses with their objects. In other words, they are born of identification with the body. Krishna indicates that those who are devoted to enjoyment and power are carried away by the words of the Veds. which promise heavenly enjoyment by sacrifice and regulated activity. Enjoyment is a birthright, for it is the characteristic of the spirit soul. But the spirit soul tries to enjoy materially, and this is the mistake. Everyone is turning to material subjects for enjoyment and is compiling as much knowledge as possible. Someone is becoming a chemist, physicist, politician, artist, or whatever. Everyone knows something of everything, or everything of something, and this is generally known as knowledge. But as soon as we leave the body, all of this knowledge is vanquished. In the previous life, one may have been a great man of knowledge, but in this life, he has to start again by going to school and learning how to read and write from the very beginning. Whatever knowledge was acquired in the previous life is now forgotten. The situation is that we are seeking eternal knowledge, but this cannot be acquired by this material body. We are all seeking enjoyment through these bodies, but bodily enjoyment is not our actual enjoyment. It is artificial. We have to understand that if we want to continue in this artificial enjoyment, we will not be able to attain a position of eternal enjoyment. The body must be considered a diseased condition. A diseased man cannot enjoy himself properly. A man with jaundice, for instance, will taste sugar candy as bitter, but a healthy man can taste its sweetness. In either case, the sugar candy is same, but according to our condition, it tastes different. Unless we are cured of this diseased conception of bodily life, we cannot taste the sweetness of spiritual life. Indeed, it will taste bitter to us. At the same time, by increasing our enjoyment of material life, we are further complicating our diseased condition. A typhoid patient cannot eat solid food, but if someone gives it to him to enjoy and he eats it, he is further complicating his malady and endangering his life. If we really want freedom from these miseries of material existence, we must minimize our bodily demands and pleasures. Actually, material enjoyment is not enjoyment at all. Real enjoyment doesn't cease. In the Mahabharata, there is a verse, Ramante Yogino Nante, to the effect that the yogis, yogino, those who are endeavoring to elevate themselves to the spiritual platform, are actually enjoying Ramante, but their enjoyment is Anante, that is endless. This is because their enjoyment is in relation to the supreme enjoyer, Ram, Shri Krishna. Bhagwan Shri Krishna is the real enjoyer, and Bhagavad Gita 5.29 confirms this. Bhoktaram yajnata pasam sarvaloka maheshwaram suridham sarvabhutanam jnatva mam shantim rechati. The sages, knowing me as the ultimate enjoyer of all sacrifices and austerities, the supreme lord of all planets and demigods, and the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities, attain peace from the pangs of material miseries. Bhog means enjoyment, and our enjoyment comes from the understanding our position as the enjoyed. The real enjoyer is the Supreme Lord, and we are enjoyed by Him. An example of this relation can be found in the material world between the husband and the wife. The husband is the enjoyer, or Purusha, and the wife is enjoyed, Prakriti. The word Prakriti means woman. Purusha, or spirit, is the subject, and Prakriti, or nature, is the object. The enjoyment, however, is participated in both by the husband and the wife. When actual enjoyment is there is no distinction. The husband is enjoying more or the wife is enjoying less. Although the male is the predominator and the female is the predominated, there is no division when it comes to enjoyment. On a larger scale, no living entity is the enjoyer. God expanded into many, and we constitute those expansions. God is one without a second, but He willed to become many in order to enjoy. We have experienced that there is little or no enjoyment in sitting alone in a room talking to oneself. However, if there are 5 people present, our enjoyment is enhanced. And if we can discuss Krishna before many people, the enjoyment is all the greater. Enjoyment means variety. God became many for His enjoyment, and thus our position is that of the enjoyed. That is our constitutional position and the purpose of our creation. Both the enjoyer and the enjoyed have consciousness, but the consciousness of the enjoyed is subordinate to the consciousness of the enjoyer. Although Krishna is the enjoyer and we the enjoyed, the enjoyment can be participated in equally by everyone. Our enjoyment can be perfected when we participate in the enjoyment of Lord. There is no possibility of our enjoyment separately on the bodily platform. The material enjoyment on the gross bodily platform is discouraged throughout the Bhagavad Gita. Matra sparshasthu kaunteya shitoshna sukha agamapainu nityas tamstitikshasva bharata. O son of Kunti, non-permanent appearance of heat and cold, happiness and distress, and their disappearance in due course are like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. They arise from sense perception. O son of Bharat, one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. Bhagavad Gita 2.40. The gross material body is a result of the interaction of modes of material nature, and it is doomed to destruction. Antavanta ime deha nityasya uktaha sharirinaha anashino prameyasya tasmadyudhyasva bharata. Only the material body of the indestructible, immeasurable, and the eternal living entity is subject to destruction. Therefore, fight, O descendant of Bharat. Bhagavad Gita 2.18. Sri Krishna therefore encourages us to transcend the bodily conception of existence and to attain our actual spiritual life. Gunan etan atitya trin dehi deha samudbhavan janma mrityu jara dukkhair vimukto mritamashnute. When the embodied being is able to transcend these three modes, which are goodness, passion, and ignorance, he can become free from birth, death, old age, and their distresses, and can enjoy nectar even in this life. Bhagavad Gita 14.20. To establish ourselves on the pure Brahma Bhuta spiritual platform, above the three modes, we must take up the method of Krishna consciousness. The gift of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the chanting of the names of Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, facilitates this process. This method is called Bhakti Yoga or Mantra Yoga, and it is employed by the highest transcendentalist. How the transcendentalists realize their identity beyond birth and death, beyond the material body, and transfer themselves to the material universe, the spiritual universes, as the subject matters of the following chapters. So with this, we end our first chapter. We are not these bodies. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.